Support comes from Hampton Roads Community Foundation, partnering with donors from all walks of life to improve southeastern Virginia through grants, scholarships, and leadership initiatives. Learn more at hamptonroadscf.org.
Hello, everyone. I'm Barbara Hamley. Welcome to our Another View celebration of Juneteenth. Yes. We are live from the teleconference center here at WHRO with a live audience, food trucks, incredible guests, and lots of fun. For the next 90 minutes, we'll share history, song, and learn all about the foods of Juneteenth. Our Lisa Godley is outside in the parking lot of WHRO where there's a lot going on. Hey, Lisa.
Hey, Barbara. Yeah, folks are lined up at the food trucks. We're really excited out here. You know, it's just a wonderful celebration. Folks are ready for the good food. They're ready for the show. So let's get going.
Absolutely. We are going to be there. And if you are riding around, you're close to Hampton Boulevard, come on over and join us. All of this and more when Another View returns right after this national, regional, and local news from NPR and WHRO News.
Discussing today's topics from an African-American perspective, this is Another View.
Happy Juneteenth, everyone, and welcome to Another View. I'm Barbara Hamley. We are so happy to have a live audience with us today, enjoying their lunch. You hear them there while watching us do radio. And thanks to everyone who tuned in to celebrate with us for the next 90 minutes. Later in today's show, we're going to talk about the significance of food during the Juneteenth celebration. And speaking of food, let's go outside to hear from Another View producer, Lisa Godley. Hey, Lisa.
Yeah, we got a lot going on out here. Folks are still waiting on some of their food so they can get in and still listen to the broadcast, but it's an exciting day and it's an exciting moment. Can't wait to talk to the folks we have lined up for interviews today. It's just going to be an amazing show. We're really excited about all that's going on.
Absolutely. And people can come on by at 5200 Hampton Boulevard. Come on out and continue to join us. We'll be here until about 2 o'clock today, correct?
Yes, absolutely. The food trucks will be here, definitely.
Okay, great. We'll check back with you in just a little bit. So it was June 17, 2021, when then President Joe Biden signed the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act into law, making June 19th a federal holiday commemorating the day in 1865 when enslaved African Americans in Galveston, Texas, finally learned of their freedom. Here to tell us more about the history of Juneteenth is ethnohistorian, artist, and activist Yola Lewis Dance. Welcome back,
Hello.
Yola.
It's so good to be here.
So, Yola,
Yeah.
when you talk about Juneteenth, first of all, what does it do to your soul?
Oh, goodness. For me, it's a sense of responsibility, one, in remembrance, but it gives me hope. I have to be honest. It's Freedom Day. We have a generational responsibility to fight for freedom. So when I think about Juneteenth, I think of my ancestors, and it gives me hope.
So for those who may not be aware, although I can't imagine at this point, but there may be a few, would you remind people exactly what happened and what is Juneteenth?
Yes, so if we can travel in time and think about Galveston, Texas, 2 years practically after the Emancipation Proclamation, General Gordon Granger arrives there and enforces the Emancipation Proclamation. So if you think in terms of the American Civil War, President Lincoln having made this executive order, and so we've been talking a lot about executive orders. The proclamation was an executive order. There were specific places within the Confederacy where slavery was abolished according to the Emancipation Proclamation. Now I'm going to acknowledge something. Places like Norfolk were excluded from the Emancipation Proclamation, but Galveston, Texas was not. And so Granger was there to enforce the Emancipation Proclamation.
And when people found out that they were free, what did they do?
They called it Jubilee. So I like to think of David Blight's work, Race and Reunion, families were reconnecting. We think of the Great Migration during the 20th century, but people started traveling back north because many people were sold south. When we think about family, they were coming together. And of course, when we come together as family, what do? We break bread. And so there are some food ways that you all are enjoying right now, and I'm very jealous that those traditions began with Juneteenth.
So this is the year that this country is celebrating 250 years of existence. How important is Juneteenth in the narrative of our country?
I think it's critical that we have to connect Juneteenth to American independence. So all of those values, those ideals of freedom, justice, equality, inalienable rights, those are born during the American Revolution. But how many years later is it when African Americans achieve and receive those freedoms? So if you think in terms of African landing, which happened just across the water, right, in Hampton, Virginia, at Point Comfort, that's 1619. It's 246 years later when you have Juneteenth. So that road to freedom journey for African Americans happened significantly after the American Revolution, but those ideals are used time and again throughout African American experience, and today they're critical when we think about freedom.
So we are also celebrating SAIL 250 as part of the commemoration of the 250th anniversary. And there are some who, particularly in our community, who were very upset at the tone deafness, as they describe it, of having tall ships on Juneteenth. Can you explain why that's an issue, first of all? And then let's go into how some of the localities around have tried to mitigate the damage that was caused in the beginning.
Yes, as you know, I'm a student of history, so I always go to the historical record, the oral traditions, and trying to understand. And so one of the things we often forget is that when we say Hampton Roads, we're talking about the riverways. We're not talking about the roads. So we have to think in terms of a maritime society. And so those tall ships represent a period of time on this landscape where the African American experience is a trauma story. And there's no hiding from that. So the oversight was that SAIL 250 here takes place on Juneteenth. And so many people in the community, and it really didn't matter whether you were in Alexandria, Virginia, Richmond, Hampton, or Norfolk, questioned, well, why would we bring the tall ships, which visually make us think of slavery, on Freedom Day, on the 19th? And so communities really came together. And so Dr. Newby Alexander here at Norfolk State has been working directly with SAIL 250 and the team here with HarborFest to tell and expand the story and make sure the African American experience is included and prominent. In Hampton, Virginia, Hampton 250 brought together a working group and folks like Gayleen Knoyton with the NAACP, Fort Monroe, Virginia 250, and our partners in the city all have come together to make sure we tell a complete story. And one of the things you can't do is tell the truth without Barbara Ham Lee. So we invited the person who we know could guide our full community in an exploration of a whole history.
I am so excited. I actually will be the voice behind the ships coming through at Fort Monroe tomorrow morning. And then we are also, thank you, we are also integrating the history of African Americans and what happened to us in that area. And so it will be a rich, full, inclusive experience. But Yola, does this point out again why it's so critical that diverse voices are at the table at the planning stage?
You have to have the right people at the table early and you have to talk to them often. And so in telling the whole and complete story, what we know are all types of ships trafficked Africans to the U.S. If you think of that history from 1619 at Point Comfort to Africatown in Mobile, Alabama, there were all types of ships that were involved in one of the greatest crimes against humanity. And so in the African American community, we don't deny that history. So by having the right voices at the table, scholars, culture bearers, musicians, different thinkers, you're able to really tell that true story.
Yes. Now, is Juneteenth for everyone?
100%.
Yes.
As they say, absolutely. The work that we do in telling the history at Fort Monroe and in the Commonwealth is for everyone. It is Virginia's story made whole. And so, especially when we think about the commemoration this year, we've been saying America, made in Virginia. But you can't tell Virginia's story and not tell the history of the African American experience. African Americans were present in 1619. There were 20 and odd who were documented. We now know that there were probably 60 Africans by 1619. Now, this happens at the same time the Virginia Assembly forms. And so as all of the laws that dictate our lived experience occur, African Americans are here. As we find a cash crop, as we build a nation, African Americans are present and part of that story.
It is all, as we talk about, I'm a member of the Let Freedom Ring Foundation in Williamsburg.
Yes.
With the First Baptist Church, the third oldest Black Baptist church in the country, started in 1776.
That's right.
And in our documentary, we called it History Half Told is Untold. So we are going to tell the true story,
The
correct?
whole story.
Absolutely. You know what? Let's go outside to Lisa Godley. She's got more about the African American reaction to the intersection of SAIL 250 and Juneteenth. Lisa.
That's right, Barbara. I'm out here with Brian Saunders, one of our reporters here at WHRO Public Media. Brian, thank you so much, first of all, for being here. Now, this piece has drawn a lot of local attention. Walk us through how this story first came to your attention behind the scenes here at WHRO, and how you decided on the right angle to pitch.
First of all, Lisa, I want to thank you for reaching out for this opportunity just to discuss the story. It came to me through my editors, Michelle and Ryan. We had a conversation over Slack, just kind of trying to decide how we would attack the fact that all three of these events were happening at the same time down at Town Point Park. And for me, I started with some research of just trying to see what had already been posted about the events, Juneteenth, Harbor Fest, Sail Fest 250, what was being said, whether that be from community members, the city of Norfolk, what city council had said, what had been written. And I decided that the best thing to do was to approach the city and ask for a full breakdown of how they came about, what the process was to get to having Juneteenth in collaboration with Harborfest and SAIL 250, what exactly was going to be going on to make sure that Juneteenth was not overshadowed by those other celebrations. And the city, it took some time for them to get me who I wanted to talk to. They didn't exactly think that the people that I wanted to talk to at first were the right people to talk to, and then eventually we got the deputy city manager, Lavoris Pace, to speak because he was kind of the one in charge of putting it together. And then I decided to speak to a community member who had his own Juneteenth celebration that he felt was being overshadowed by the city's larger grand scale celebration. Bilal Muhammad, who in Diggs Park has been having a parade of his own the last 4 years. And then someone reached out to us about a event that was happening on Church Street. And so that gave me another voice to kind of put together what I wanted to talk about.
Okay. Now, when you reached out to Norfolk City officials, how did they defend the strategy behind merging the events?
their point was that Juneteenth is only going to get more exposure if they collaborated with Harborfest and Sail 250. The point that Pace made was that from now on, they can only do it at this scale or larger because they've set a precedent by having it at the grand scale with Harborfest, Sail 250 down at Town Point Park, and that it would not be overshadowed because they have so many opportunities for Juneteenth education, is what I was told. Juneteenth education, programming. They also talked about how they commission artists within the city, and there will be flags that are already flying downtown and in the Town Point Park area with local artists for Juneteenth, and how there is, if you're not downtown, you're going to miss out because this is going to be the best way to celebrate Juneteenth, is what I was told.
Now, you attended the community meeting that was held a few weeks ago to address community concerns. What was the level of response that you witnessed during that meeting?
The attention to detail from the poll that the community members responded to during that town hall meeting showed that not a lot of people in the African American community are happy with the decision. They felt like it was pushing Juneteenth to the side by not allowing it to at least have the one day by itself tomorrow, and having those celebrations even start on Saturday the 20th. While they appreciate that the city is putting forth effort, they felt like it was a slap in the face to have Juneteenth celebration and Harborfest and Sail 250 when those, especially Harborfest, one person said the connotation does not actually paint a welcoming experience for African Americans. A lot of people felt that it was just another oversight by the city, lack of attention to perception, and it could have been avoided with more public outreach from the beginning.
What was the biggest lesson you learned from this overall process?
Twofold. As a journalist, I think the lesson that I learned is that I have to go into situations like this where there's going to be some press that might not paint the city in a great light, that there will be some pushback in terms of how they would rather things be told as opposed to how I see them. And then I also learned that there's a lot of people in this city who feel strongly about the things that the city is doing, and they are willing to speak up. And if the city would allow that from the beginning, I think it would be beneficial to all.
Brian Saunders, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. Barbara, back to you.
Thank you, Lisa. So, Yola, the whole point is communication, is it not?
Absolutely. It's communication. And if I were to add, I would say cultural literacy. That when you have the right people at the table, you're able to speak across differences and awareness and knowledge. So communication and cultural literacy.
Well, the one thing that is encouraging to me is that even within the city of Norfolk and realizing what has happened, they are reaching out. So WHRO is working with OpSale to provide some Juneteenth programming this weekend so that there will be more activity going on. There are several activities happening in Norfolk, and we're going to talk about those in a little while to bring everyone up to speed, but across the city. So regardless of Harborfest, but across the city of Norfolk, there are celebrations going on, as well as all of the other cities in the 757, Hampton and Portsmouth and Newport News and Williamsburg, and everybody's doing something. So you will have plenty of opportunity to go out and to participate. What are you looking forward to the most?
Oh, goodness. So tomorrow we are going to launch a partnership, Freedom Forward, and that is VA 250, Fort Monroe Foundation, and the Diamond Hantu Foundation. And so we've just been growing in partnership and really telling a full and complete story from African landing to Juneteenth, and tomorrow's just going to be an incredible day where we'll come together and celebrate.
Now, there's also the African Landing Memorial that is brand new at Fort Monroe, if you haven't had a chance to see it. The history there is phenomenal in terms of the way our story is told.
Yes, we want to see you there, and we want you to mark your calendars for August 22nd through the 29th for the annual African Landing commemoration, and there will be a new addition to the memorial. So Isabella, Anthony, and Baby William, and Baby William being the first documented African birth in Virginia, will join that cultural landscape, that sacred place.
That is going to be incredible. So if people want to come out tomorrow, hear me talk.
They do.
Hear me early in the morning, but you can watch the ships go by and also hear the history of our culture. It is at 8 o'clock, 8:30ish or so until around noon. And then that afternoon, there's another Juneteenth celebration. So that's going to be going on there also. So please come on out and decide if you want to hang out. Okay. Absolutely. Are there any questions from the audience? Does anyone have a question?
For Saturday, again, what time does your portion of the program begin?
My portion is tomorrow, actually on Juneteenth,
tomorrow.
The 19th, yes.
I'm sorry.
And I will start, I believe, around 9ish in the morning and go through noon.
Thank you.
So I'll be nice and hoarse by the time it's all over. But this is a description, so you'll get a description of the ships and their significance, as well as the history that was happening during this time, and in partnership with Juneteenth. So we're mixing it together. Any other questions from the audience? Yes, ma'am.
What is your take on, during 1776, we were still in slavery, but yet, years later, we have our freedom. But I don't think if people really think about that, when America was celebrating, we were in the cotton fields and landowners, working in the fields. So how do you feel about something like that?
Yola?
I'm guessing that question's for me. This is the paradox of slavery, right, and freedom. Whether you're talking about the American Revolution, or even I had the opportunity to lead James Madison's Montpelier, where the Constitution was drafted, you consistently in American history have these moments where we make claims for freedom and justice for all, yet some people are excluded. And you are exactly right. African Americans were excluded from those freedoms at that time, even those who fought as patriots or those who chose to side with loyalists. So as African Americans were taking risks and making choices, many were trying to achieve their freedom at that time. Barbara, I believe the number was 20,000 who sided with the loyalists and about 5,000 who sided with patriots. And so it was about where you thought you might achieve freedom. Those freedoms were withheld. There are some, like James Armstead Lafayette, who later in life achieved freedom, a level of freedom. But those freedoms did not always then transfer to their children. And so that is the paradox of slavery and freedom in the United States.
And the Loyalists, if you're not familiar with the Loyalists, go to the archives at anotherviewradio.org or whro.org/anotherview. We did an entire show on the Loyalists. These were people who were promised by the British that they would be free if they fought for the British, and they weren't. And they weren't. And the history is incredible. And there's a very strong connection between African-American families in Virginia Beach and now in Canada.
Yes.
Because that's where their ancestors wound up going. So a lot of history. You have one more time for one more question right now? Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, in case I missed this. Harborfest, Sail 250, and Juneteenth. Are we permanently now entrenched with Harborfest and Juneteenth being on the same day because...
No.
Okay, because I would be the first one to be on a committee that after this year, let's go back to having Harbor Fest the week before.
I understand Harbor Fest normally was in the fall. However, Harbor Fest was a bicentennial event, so it began in...
The op sale was, yeah.
Yes.
Harbor Fest usually happens in June, but it has not been on Juneteenth. And I think based on the responses that have come along with this planning this year, I think this will be the last time that they will be combining the two of them. We'll see. We'll see what's happening. So if you're just joining us, we're celebrating Juneteenth here at WHRO Public Media. If you're in the area, 45th and Hampton Boulevard, come on down, join us, grab some lunch from our food vendors, and watch us do another View Live. We'll be on the air until 1:30, and we would love to see you. And give us a call. We're not doing calls today. I'm so used to saying that. Does anyone else have any other questions for Yola? She is on a roll today and will have to leave us soon, so I want to make sure we get those. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you mentioned Joseph Lafayette. In Portsmouth, they've had new placards put out for Freedom 250 or whatever they're calling it. I recently learned about him. You can see the house where he was headquarters. He was a double agent and led Cornwallis to Yorktown to be surrounded by Washington. If you want to share any more about him, it was just insane how incredible his story is.
Yes, I absolutely encourage everyone to visit Colonial Williamsburg and to visit the First Baptist Church in Williamsburg. James Armstead Lafayette, his history is interpreted there daily, and he was a trusted operative. And matter of fact, he took on the name of the Marquis de Lafayette, who petitioned for his freedom. And so, he is one of the few and an incredible example of what patriotism looked like within the African American context.
There was someone else that had a question. This lady here.
Hi, I was wondering, with all the conversation around Juneteenth, and a lot of times, before Juneteenth was considered or made a federal holiday, the big picture of history of slavery was not properly taught in schools. So how do we continue to educate our children about, Juneteenth and, that history outside of the school system?
I'm so glad you asked that question. So this year is the 100th anniversary of the Black History Month. So the Association for the Study of African American Life and History was founded by Carter G. Woodson in 1915, and that conference, their annual conference, will be here in Norfolk in September. So I encourage each of you to join us for that conference, but to engage the Black History Month themes and tools. There's a toolkit on their website, and I encourage you to create and support freedom schools. So when we think about the past, much of our history we received in church or an elder who knew that history and challenged us to explore that history. And unfortunately, we are in those types of times again, where the school systems are being challenged through the laws around the history that's being told. I personally am thankful and professionally thankful for this moment in Virginia as our leadership embraces a whole and complete history. A year ago, we were in a very different place. I'm going to talk in a few moments about a partnership between Galveston and Fort Monroe. And during Governor Youngkin's administration, he signed a proclamation to tell a whole and complete history in perpetuity. Shortly thereafter, parents could file a complaint by phone if their child learned about slavery or was made to feel uncomfortable. So those are the things we're fighting against and resisting, and it's going to take all of us to make sure a whole history is told.
Okay, I think we can get one more in.
Hi there, Barbara and Yola. Sherry Bailey here.
I thought that was
Sherry. Yes, hey.
And actually, what I was wanting to talk about has been covered here, but I want to just emphasize that our local Tidewater Hampton Roads history is America's history. And so we have an opportunity and a responsibility. And WHRO, WHRV, with your reach into the community, I look forward to seeing what leadership will offer to the rest of the region here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Sherry. And, I want to encourage you all. Our history shows that we do here on Another View are one of the most popular shows that we have because people just are hungry for information. To the young lady who asked, how do we teach our children? We have to educate ourselves first. Yes. Educate ourselves first, and then make sure that we pass that information along. I got to go back outside and talk to Lisa for just a moment and see what is happening outside with a lot of our guests. Hi, Lisa.
Hey, Barbara, how are you?
I'm good.
I'm out here with Michael Carey, owner of Corny Mike's Kettle Corn and Italian Ice, one of our vendors that's out here. We love supporting Black businesses, especially on this Juneteenth weekend. And Mike, you've been doing this for a while. How'd you get started doing all this?
Just visiting the Italian Ice side, just visiting places like New York, and saw it was very common, and just saw a void in this area. And this was back in 2005. So we got started in 2005, and it's been pretty good up until now.
Is it just kettle corn, or are there other things too?
We do Italian Ice, kettle corn, and that's pretty much it, our main things we do right now.
Okay. And Barbara, when you bring Laquita on, I just want to emphasize that corn, yellow from the ground. So hey. Now, Mike is just one of 3 vendors that are out here today. I'm also out here. Ruby Love's Southern Cooking and Catering is out here as well. And your truck is Ruby Love's, but that's not your name.
Not my name. Ruby Love was established from my grandmother, my deceased grandmother, Ruby Love. And my promise to her was that when I started a business, I would name it after her. So that was the inspiration behind Ruby Love's. Plus, she was the one that taught me how to cook.
So what do we have on your truck?
Today we have fried whiting, we have fried chicken, collard greens, sweet potato casserole, fried corn niblets. We have red beans and rice, as well as your general fries as well. And then we also have banana pudding, apple egg rolls with homemade caramel sauce. And we have funnel fries with homemade strawberry dipping sauce as well.
That all sounds delicious. I hear a lot of things from the ground there, Barbara.
It's not fair, Lisa, because we are sitting here starving, and that food sounds so good.
Send somebody out to place your order. But the trucks will be here until about 2 o'clock today. So, if you're passing by, please come by, support the vendors that are out here. The show sounds amazing. I am learning so much just sitting here listening. So this is just great. So I'm going to send this back to you, and I'm going to grab some more folks to talk to.
All right. That sounds great. Before we talk to our next guest, we want to say goodbye to Yola Dance. She has to go off because she is Miss Juneteenth all over the place. But Yola, thank you so much. Thank you so much for all this.
Thank you.
And I will see you in the morning.
That's right. All right. Enjoy.
You can go ahead. Yeah, absolutely. And one of the special things about celebrating Juneteenth is food. We keep talking about it. But there really are some foods, aren't they, Laquita?
Absolutely.
Laquita is here with us, Laquita Staten. She is a nurse and health educator, and she's going to talk to you. You all got a form when you came in that allowed you to sit down and write down some of the colors and the foods that you decided to eat, and she's got some Juneteenth history behind that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me here today, Barbara. It's a pleasure. And of course, the Festival Food Finder was created for this event based on some of the food that's out there at the food trucks. We all have a lot of freedom in food. That's a place where we've historically had freedoms, and we still have freedoms, because even when people were enslaved, when they were limited, they still had the opportunity to grow. They still had small plots, or they were able to glean, and they were able to create, which is why, out there, Ruby Love has those collard greens, rice and beans,
yes, I heard
on
that.
and popping.
Absolutely. So what are the colors, and how do the colors relate to the foods that they were eating?
So, we do have the traditional red, black, and green. So traditionally, red is the color for any of the blood that was shed, whether it was fighting for freedom or what have you along the way. And then when you look at the food, that's where you also look at the red foods, which are vibrant. They give us a lot of vitamin C, for example, watermelon. I don't know if we can, okay, I know how to phrase this. Let's just phrase it this way. And the men will love this. Well, the ladies might too, but watermelon, it'll give the men a strong back. It'll get rid of that blue pill. Let's just say that, okay? So you know.
See, you learn something new every day on Another View.
Let me tell you, I'm a nurse educator. I want to educate you all. Like, right? I see some smiles out there. I see y'all checking things off for the grocery list. But that is the freedom that food gives us. You know. So back to the colors.
Yes.
Tomatoes. Look, somebody happy over there. We've got tomatoes, you know, so if you're getting a fish sandwich or a chicken sandwich and they have tomatoes as a topping, get those tomatoes. It doesn't have your lycopene in there, which is a powerful antioxidant for you. Helps all of your body functions. Green. You all know we have green foods that we use daily. Lettuce, green peppers, and green is for that fertility, for that growth, for our constant prosperity, for our constant knowledge and education. So we definitely have our freedom through education. Green is a part of that. The more you know, the more you can act on it, and the better we all are, which is, you know, of course, we have that as evidenced by you, Barbara, here today. All of the historical shows that you've done, and it just gives us that continuity of, we know where we've been, we know where we are now, and thanks to where we've been, we know what more we can do. We know how we can still grow. We know what people before us have done, and so the green foods, they definitely lean into that.
You know, as people talk about being healthier, trying to eat differently and so forth, is it difficult to cook those types of food?
No.
Or are there some...
So I have taken quite a few words out of my vocabulary. I don't say words like difficult. I use an issue. I use the word issue or a challenge because, you know, we can all reach a goal, and goals are challenging, but we reach them. But when we start off with difficult, then that's where we could, because nobody says, as nobody says to themselves, I am hungry. Is it difficult for me to find something to eat? Because we've been eating since birth. So if we keep that same mindset, you know, from birth, then we'll realize that it's easy to cook. It's very easy to cook rice and beans. It's very easy to cook sweet potatoes. You turn on the fire, you put a little water in the pan, and the food literally cooks itself. And then the issue is the seasoning, right? The issue is the seasoning. Now, we are a people of flavor because we come from warmer climates, and I'm speaking of the African-American people and the diaspora. So we come from the warmer climates, and that means that we have lots of herbs and lots of flavors. And that's where the difficulty comes in, if you want to use that word.
If you want it to taste good. Talk to us about sweet potatoes.
Let's talk to you about sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes, because they grow under the ground, you're going to get your magnesium, your copper. And a lot of you are hearing, oh, take magnesium to sleep. Well, why not eat sweet potatoes in the evening? Why not eat sweet potatoes in the afternoon? Why not eat these things that will sustain you?
But I got to ask you, Laquita, okay.
Sure.
So you can eat sweet potatoes as just the sweet potato. You might put a little bit of butter or a little bit of seasoning on it.
You can eat
or you can drown it in sugar.
So wait a minute. Remember, we're not discussing the sugar. We're not discussing the butter, because the beautiful thing is, if it grows from the ground, it's going down, meaning it's going inside of me, simply because it has two powerful things: antioxidants and fiber. All of the foods that grow from the ground, they have antioxidants and fiber, which means it can help to mitigate that butter. It can help to mitigate that sugar. And this is the way I describe fiber. Fiber is, it's in everything that grows from the ground, but it's like the grandparents. So when you pair sugar with the fiber is moving along slowly, and the sugar is like that little kid that wants to run, but the grandparent's holding the toddler's hand. So it kind of walks you, and this is the reason why you don't get those sugar spikes when you eat food that comes from the ground, and this is the reason why your blood sugar can be balanced when you're pairing foods that grow from the ground with the things that you're already going to eat anyway. So if you know that you're going to eat a sweet potato, if you know that you like sweet potatoes with butter and sugar, then have it, enjoy it. But go ahead and eat the sweet potato as well as eat the skin, since that's where the nutrients are.
That's where the
nutrients and also the nutrients are in the inside as well, but they're all throughout. That orange color, it helps your eyes. So that's your vitamin K. But go ahead, ask me another question. I'm sorry.
I'm going to ask the audience if they have any questions about how you eat, your foods, the things that you're experiencing today. There's a question right there. Gentleman in the back.
I got, yes, sir, watermelon is not in season yet, if that's your question. But they do ship some in.
So just a question about food. So you mentioned tomatoes. So I'm a father of a young athlete. I try to keep him away from tomatoes because I heard they're bad for inflammation. But I'm an accountant. I'm not a food person. Am I right or am I wrong?
You are right and you are wrong. You know, and I say that because here's the beautiful thing about foods that grow from the ground. Rather than looking at it as, well, I think this is not good, is it right for your child? Because some people, the same way some of us have sensitivities to certain foods and other people don't, it's the same way with the tomatoes. And it's the same way with the lettuce. It's the same way with the sweet potatoes. Some of us will have those sensitivities, but no, it's usually not the food itself, if it grows from the ground, that causes the sensitivity as much as it is the pesticides. So a lot of times we can eat foods and then later we become sensitive to them. Often it's from the pesticides. For example, seafood. Some of us, from birth, we cannot have shellfish or we cannot have fish. I have a sister that she couldn't eat fish, but she could eat shellfish. Now, that's because animals in the ocean, they tend to take in toxins and then we might have sensitivities to them. However, seaweed, the plants in the ocean, kelp, wakame, seaweed, they filter out in the same way that plants on land filter out toxins for us because that's how we get our fresh groundwater. That is the way seaweed and sea vegetables operate as well. So a lot of times people are not as allergic to sea vegetables, but some people still have those sensitivities to sea vegetables. So that's why I'm saying you're right and you're wrong, because it could be right for your child and you want your athlete to perform in the best way. So if the tomatoes aren't the answer, there are so many other things that grow from the ground. And I'm talking G-bombs, greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds. So that's the acronym for G-bombs that Dr. Joel Furman has created to help people remember. Get these things in your life.
Absolutely. How do you convince someone that it takes a little time to cook as opposed to running down to your favorite fast food spot?
There's no convincing, because I have eaten every animal under the sun and I love fast food. I still do, because this is just part of my history. And so we look at our history as African Americans, right? We were all cooking. But now here we are, we're like, the convenience is here. So, and also a lot of us, we have our own businesses in food. And so we want that convenience. So this is where the Festival Food Finder comes in. You say, let me go to wherever I'm going. And if I'm going to Burger King and I'm getting a sandwich anyways, let me get every topping they have. Burger King does have lettuce, tomato, onion, pickles, jalapenos. Mushrooms. I think Wendy's has that mushroom burger or something. So instead of looking at it from the perspective of, the bacon, look at it for, well, what does grow from the ground? Can I add those things to what I'm already eating? Because there's no need to convince us. We know what's good for us and we know what tastes good, and we're not going to compromise.
Okay. Any other questions from the audience?
Wait, hold on.
Hold on.
When I eat a sweet potato and I haven't put anything on it, it's sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And I worry that I'm eating sugar even though I've put no sugar on it because it tastes sweet. Can you tell me something about that?
I can absolutely tell you plenty about that, and I'll keep it brief. So the doctors there's been lots of research around this. Dr. Neil Bernard at Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine up in Washington, D.C., they have plenty of physicians that have done research on this. But I'm going to speak to Dr. Columbus Batiste. He's an African-American cardiologist, or Dr. Kim Williams. They both have spoken on the sweet flavor does not necessarily tell you the amount of sugar in that food. And so simply because it tastes sweet, you might have more sugar in a potato, a white potato, than you may have in a cherry.
Oh.
In a cherry. I'm just naming different foods, right? And I say that because a cherry might taste sweeter than a white potato, but vice versa. It just depends. So same thing with the sweeter fruits. Sometimes they taste sweet to us, like a pineapple or a mango may taste exceptionally sweet. It may have the same amount of sugar as an apple. However, this is the thing we want to remember too. Our body recognizes sweetness and it translates all sweetness as sugar. So if you're eating sugar substitutes, your body still sees that as a sugar. So be aware of that as well. So you're doing a wonderful job with just getting your sweet potato by itself or with butter and sugar or cinnamon, however you like it. But also keep in mind that no matter what you're eating, try to eat the real thing. Because again, the substitutes, your body gets confused even with those things. So that's the short answer.
Okay.
That was pretty long. Sorry about that.
You were just fine. So the bottom line is, let's eat from the ground.
Boom. Let's eat from the ground. It has fiber. It has antioxidants. And just if you do a search, health benefits of fiber, health benefits of antioxidants, just those two things, you'll start to realize on your own, this is why historically my people have been great. This is why we've always been creative and had such ingenuity, and we created AC, because African Americans did that in the South. We weren't playing. But yeah, go ahead, Barbara.
Well, with that, we're going to go back outside to Lisa and find out what she's munching on right now. Thank you, Laquita. We appreciate you.
Well, actually, I haven't had a chance to do any of that, but I am here with one of the chefs that's out here, R&L Curbside Creations. Jet, tell us a little bit about how you got started with all this.
Well, it was something I always wanted to do from a kid, and I worked at a print company for 25 years. So I got in a major car accident, so I said, well, what I'm going to do instead of staying home? So I bought a food truck, and then that's where it started from.
Okay, and tell us a little bit about what we can get if we stand in line at that food truck.
You can get the best crab cakes in Virginia. You can get that. The best crab balls in Virginia, and the seafood salad. Those are my specialties.
Okay, and what does it mean to you to be out here or to be celebrating Juneteenth? What does that mean to you personally?
A lot. It's just like cooking, supporting our people, supporting the history, and I'm proud to be out here.
Thank you so much for being a part of today's celebration and for being a part of Another View. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Looking forward to getting in that line. Okay. Barbara, I will be back with Tiani in just a minute. She had to make a little run. So as soon as she comes back, our miniature chef for Tiani's Lemon Squeeze will be here with me.
Exactly.
So.
How old is Tiani?
I think she's 8.
8
Is Tiani
years
8?
old. And she is a chef, y'all. And she has her goodies outside also, so you have to make sure you stop by.
My bad,
is
Barbara.
She there?
Her family says she's 6.
Oh, see, I made her too old. 6 years old. Wait until we hear from her, but you'll hear from her in just a little bit, Lisa.
Yeah, in just a little bit.
Oh, okay, all right. We'll come back to you then.
Okay. All right.
So you guys are really in for a true treat now, because music is integral to the Juneteenth celebration, as you know, and this year you're going to get a sneak listen to the new song Juneteenth. Now, it was composed by Mark L. Carmen. He's a Grammy-nominated music producer, composer, and pastor of Green Lakes Baptist Church in Portsmouth. Now, joining me here right now is Frank Elliott. He is an arranger at Norfolk State University, and soloist Naila Norman, and they were tasked with bringing the song to life. Welcome to Another View, you guys. How you doing?
Thank you.
So let's start with you, Frank. How did you connect with Mark, and how did this come about in terms of your arranging the song?
Well, first of all, good afternoon to everybody. This has been quite an honor. Cassandra Newby Alexander, who's also
she's a regular here on our show.
Scholar,
yes, we know her.
A historian at Norfolk State, but her along with Billy Cook. Billy is also a very civic-minded resident in Portsmouth, but they both approached me about this song that I just had to hear, and they felt that I would be a good person to involve my vocal jazz students from Norfolk State to debut this song. And when I first heard the AI recording, I was just overwhelmed almost. The song captures the true meaning and significance of Juneteenth and its historical significance. And what I love about it, Mark's intention was to create something that the broader community would embrace and associate with the holiday. And the song does that. The words really capture ideas of liberty and freedom, and which you will hear. And but he's hoping that this will become an anthem that will be associated with the holiday. So hopefully you all will feel the same way when you hear it, right?
Did Mark tell you why he chose to write about Juneteenth?
He did, and it's funny. We initially had a phone conversation. He began to weep on the phone as he shared with me. He almost had me weeping with him. And he said when he envisions the atrocity of slavery, and then Juneteenth, to have people who were deprived still of their freedom after the law has changed. This is 2 years later, and these folks still have not been given this privilege to be free. And we've all been free all of our lives, so we don't know what that really feels like. And so, but that's what inspired him. And you're going to see the song kind of tells it all. It gives you historic perspective, but it celebrates freedom and liberty, and the music just amplifies those feelings. So I'm hoping that you all will hear this and it will inspire the same kind of euphoria in you. And Naila, of course, does an amazing job delivering.
I was going to ask Naila, how did you get selected to be the soloist?
I received a text message. First off, hello, everyone. I received a text message from Mr. Elliott about maybe January, February, about you need to listen to this song and let me know what you think of this song. And he was very persistent. I think I was just busy at the time, but he was very persistent. And I listened to the song, and quite poetic, very heartfelt, very profound lyrics, which you'll hear in the snippet that I'll sing in a few minutes.
And so we're not going to do the whole song because it is debuting in Portsmouth tomorrow on Juneteenth, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me where and when and how that's supposed to happen?
It's going to be on the Green Street stage in downtown Portsmouth.
Mm-hmm.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, the Green Street stage is a temporary stage, and at about 4:30.
Yes.
But it gets debuted also tomorrow night around 7:30 during the Harborfest celebration. So that's you were talking
so it's bringing
earlier.
The connection
trying to bring the
the two
connection
cities
together.
Yeah.
And let me just plug this. She sings in between, as I understand it, Sister Sledge and Pat of the Bell. Okay, so
no pressure.
Yeah, not at all. And then there will be another debut tomorrow at about noon. Now, of course, the forecast is rain, right? So Portsmouth has a backup plan. So she was supposed to come in on the Gazelle. I don't know if I'm saying that right, Gazela.
Yeah.
But it's one of those, Gazella, okay, one of those old ships. And she was supposed to come in like on the Titanic singing the song as it pulls into port. But because of the weather, now they've got a backup plan. So at 12 noon, this will take place at the High Street Landing. So if you're not familiar with Portsmouth, this is the end of High Street where it meets the seawall. Okay.
So in the spirit of understanding that we do have allies and that there are people who, no matter what their race, they care about what happened. Because Mark is not African American. Correct?
That's correct. That's correct. And it's funny that you bring this up because we had a discussion amongst the ensemble yesterday during rehearsal. And but what's interesting that came out of that discussion, songwriters are inspired to do what they do. And the race or gender perhaps is not that important. I think the takeaway here is that this man, because of something that happened as part of American history, was then inspired to write something that encapsulates that whole concept, and it celebrates it in such a unique way.
So I want to know what after you saw the lyrics, you heard the original or whatever, what was your inspiration in terms of the arranging of the song? What did you do to make it really come to life? I'm trying to understand what an arranger does.
Mark creates, in his mind, he's creating an anthem, right?
Okay.
And so it was kind of long, okay? So when he gives me the green light as arranger, the first thing I want to do is shorten it. so that what? So people can catch on to it and sing along even, right? If it's too long and too complicated, you might appreciate it, but you're not as inclined to really want to participate. Maybe you want to sing it. You kind of want to know the song yourself. And look, songs are a lot of ways in which we associate things through the music, right? And so that's the goal here. So as a musician, as a director I direct the vocal jazz ensemble at Norfolk State, but I'm also director of music at the historic Third Baptist Church in Portsmouth. So I'm pretty tuned in to people and how they respond to music. So I just saw an opportunity to take this song, let's shorten it, let's simplify it, and make it a little bit more soulful. And I think that's what you come away with. At least I believe that anyway, right? You agree?
I do agree wholeheartedly. I do agree. Yep. I think that after the arranging and the surgery, as Mr. Elliott would put it, of the song originally, it's definitely gonna touch the soul of those who listen. And I pray every time I sing that God removes me from myself and I become a vessel to touch somebody, regardless of whatever the music is. So I just pray that when you guys do hear it and then you come tomorrow and you hear the whole song, that they will be touched.
We've been talking with Frank Elliott and soloist Naila Norman, both from Norfolk State University, and they are going to give us now a sneak peek of what they hope will become the anthem for the Juneteenth celebration. So, Naila?
A whisper starts to rise, a spirit stirred beneath the summer skies. The taste of freedom longed for, hard to find, a truth revealed to all of humankind. 2 long years of silence, then a sound, a joyous echo on this hallowed ground. The long-awaited news, a sacred plea, announcing all are finally truly free. Juneteenth, the sun breaks through the gray, a beacon shining on this chosen day, a celebration of a debt repaid, the promises of liberty remain. Let drums of freedom beat, let voices soar and sing, for all the hope and joy this day will bring. Thank you. Thank you.
We aren't going to play the whole song because you guys got to come out tomorrow and listen to that debut. But please, let's give them another round of applause.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions for our musicians before they move on and before we move on to the next segment of our show? Anyone? Yes.
So my question is regarding the arrangement. I know that you're singing solo today and you want this as an anthem. And is this something that you have other singers? Are there background vocals? And is that a part of this weekend?
Yes. We have 12 ensemble members, so 12 vocalists that will sing, and a few musicians. I'm on keys, and we have bass drum, violinist, drummer. So it's a full ensemble. So there's 2 versions, the solo version, as you just heard a little bit of it, but then tomorrow you will get the full Monty.
Yes. All right.
So please join us. We are scheduled to sing with the ensemble at about 4:30, and it's scheduled for the Green Street Stage. Green Street Stage was a temporary setup. If it rains, then there is a backup plan to move it to. There's a police station that has like a fellowship hall where possibly that's like a last minute decision, and hopefully the rain will be in our favor.
Well, hold on. Absolutely. Please, everybody, Frank Elliott and Nyela Norman, let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much. Now, if you haven't had lunch yet, there's still time to come join us here at WHRO Public Media. We're at 5200 Hampton Boulevard, and the food vendors will be here until about 2 o'clock. Let's go back to Lisa Godley to see if she can whet your appetite. Hey, Lisa.
Hey there. Folks out here enjoying the music. It sounds like you guys are having a nice, cool time inside.
You sound jealous.
Just a little bit. I am out here with a very young chef. Why don't you tell them what your name is?
Tiani.
And what's the name of your business?
Tiani's Lemon Squeeze.
Right. And how old are you, Tiani?
6.
All right. Now, tell me a little bit about what Tiani's Lemon Squeeze. Tell me what you sell, some of the stuff you do.
Lemonade and cakes.
What kind of cakes?
Chocolate, strawberry, banana.
Now you're 6, so you're in the what, first grade?
Yes.
Okay, all right. She's a little shy here, Barbara, but Tiani's been with us all 3 years that we've been doing Juneteenth, and she's 6, so, she started very, very young.
Well, I'm going to encourage everybody who's sitting here in our studio audience to go out and support Tiani. I think that is fabulous, that learning entrepreneurship so young. That's incredible.
Absolutely. Now, I'll be coming in there pretty soon to talk to some folks, but we're out here. The food trucks are here. The lines are not very long, so if you're in the area, come on out, get something to eat. There's some good stuff out here.
Absolutely. Okay, we'll come back to you in just a little bit because I think you have a couple more people to talk to about events that are happening around town. So, and there is so much going on throughout Hampton Roads this weekend in celebration of Juneteenth. So let me tell you about some of them. First of all, HRT is really making it easy for all of us because everything is free in terms of transportation this weekend. So all buses, ferries, and the Tide Light Rail will be free throughout Juneteenth. So don't drive. Don't try to worry about parking. Just get on the public transportation and come on down. In Williamsburg tonight, June the 18th, Juneteenth art exhibit opening reception at Stryker Center. It's from 6 until 8 p.m., featuring works from Black artists across the region. And then tomorrow, Friday, June 19th, from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Fort Monroe. It's a day-long celebration of history, culture, and freedom. View the Sail 250 Virginia Parade of Sail and listen to me mess up all the names. A major maritime event featuring international tall ships and military vessels at the Fort Monroe Seawall as they make their way to downtown Norfolk. And then there's a powerful Juneteenth celebration with cultural displays, performers, live music, food, and vendors. Music, Soul Child, and Amory will headline the afternoon entertainment. So lots going on over in Hampton at Fort Monroe. The Essence of Africa Juneteenth fashion show and gala at Event Center of Hampton Roads is happening at the American Theater, in Hampton at 7:30 p.m. tomorrow. And on June 21st at 11:30 a.m., the 5th annual Juneteenth Jubilee celebrating fathers and all families at Mill Point Park. So that's going to be happening. In Surrey County, June 19th, Surrey County Pavilion at 45 School Street will host the 5th annual Juneteenth Commemoration Festival themed When We Remember, We Rise. Yesterday's legacy, today's promise, tomorrow's hope, featuring live music and food vendors, cultural exhibits, community resources, and family-friendly activities. And I'm going to skip Norfolk and Virginia Beach only because we have some people out there to talk to us about that in a moment. In Portsmouth on June the 19th, Juneteenth Freedom Day Festival at the Portsmouth Waterfront from 2 until 8:30 p.m. with live music, food, art, and vendors. And you can also come hear the Juneteenth anthem. Newport News, on June the 20th, they're holding their Juneteenth Freedom Festival at Victory Landing Park from 5 until 10 p.m., featuring DJs, live performances, adult beverages, and food. And on the 19th in Newport News, they're having Juneteenth Field Day Fun Fest. That's at Huntington Beach Park in Newport News from 11:30 a.m. until 4:30 p.m. Adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities and adults with autism can enjoy games, music, and community fellowship. I love the inclusiveness of all of that. And then there's the Unity in the Community Juneteenth celebration. That's also on the 19th from 4 to 8 p.m. at Harvest Church in Newport News. Let's see here. In Franklin, June the 18th through the 21st, they're having several different activities. Tonight is the wreath laying ceremony and red toast of Juneteenth tradition at 5:30. At 6 to 7:30 p.m., there's a lecture featuring speaker and author Dr. Omar Johnson. And from 6:05 p.m. until 9 p.m., Culture Jazz Band at Barrett's Landing. And then on June 20th at the MLK Center in Barrett's Landing, they have several different activities going on in the afternoon, in addition to, from noon until 1, a Father's Day open air church service. So come on out and enjoy all of that. And we have some other stuff coming up, but I'll hold off right now, and I'm going to send it back to Lisa to talk to some more folks outside. Lisa.
Hey, Barbara. Yes, I am sitting here with some folks that have a big event that's happening here in Norfolk on Juneteenth. Trina Moore, who's the event coordinator, is here. And Trina, tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Okay, so we are excited. Thank you for having us today. We have Juneteenth going on, but we're calling it Back to Church. Back to Church Street event. Back in the day, Church Street was actually a Black Wall Street. So we're taking it back and saying, hey, if you can't find a job right now, you know to go back to the shoulders that we stood on and become an entrepreneur. So we're lucky today that the Juneteenth is here. We're going to have a rain out, but we found the church, St. John's, right off a church in Broad Street that's going to actually house us for this event. Not only are we going to talk about the history from back in the day, we also have Dr. Cassandra Newby Alexandra to actually tell us about the history. Then we're going to do a fashion show to do the clothing from the history along with that. Then we also have the food from Church Street. So we're doing the past meeting the future right here in Norfolk on Church Street. So we're excited. We want Juneteenth to be that history. We want it to be that fashion. We want it to be the food that you want us to be. This is not just a one-time event. We're going to continue to do this every year, and it's important for us to know our past so we can know what's going on in the future. Right now, we're the next block to be done in Norfolk, so we want to make sure that we don't make mistakes from the past, bring them on to now.
All right. Now, the weather has had an impact on your plans for tomorrow as well, so tell us a little bit about the changes.
Yeah, so we scrambled all day yesterday to move our event. We looked high and low for anything, a recreation center. We had great contacts with Booker T. Washington, the principal there. Mr. Mason is fantastic, bending over backwards. But within like 24 hours of trying to move this and promote it to the public and let them know where we moved to, we stumbled across St. John's A&E Church, and I have the Reverend here right now. Reverend Savage is fantastic. I never met him. I texted him and said, hey, save Juneteenth, and he said, come on. I got you. He wanted to do something for Juneteenth already. So look at God.
Now, Reverend Savage, your church has a history. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, ma'am. St. John's was founded in 1840 as a mission of free and enslaved African Americans. What's important for Juneteenth is that Norfolk's earliest emancipation celebrations were held at St. John's. The community had a parade and it concluded at St. John's, where historical figures such as Carter G. Woodson would often address the community. What's important in this instance is to know that African Americans celebrated emancipation within their communities, and we take pride that this is a grassroots community-based Juneteenth celebration.
All right. Now, this whole entrepreneurship thing. Now, you were saying your family owned a business. Talk to me a little bit about that.
So my grandfather, T.C. Williams, on 635 East Only Road, started that dry cleaners, bought the land, built it with the community's help. My grandmother, they went from Brambleton Avenue to Only Road, and then when they passed away, my mother took over, and we're here now. The building's still there. We're trying to elevate it now. So we've come from a long line of standing on people's shoulders, and I've actually got to see what Church Street was, and the t-shirts we have on represent Juneteenth, but they're actually the actual drawings and the buildings that were on Church Street. So our history, we want to keep it in front of us and introduce it to the future so that youth can know exactly what to do and how to become an entrepreneur and see people who actually do the work and how you can actually work for yourself and give more back to your community and hire within your community.
Now, things get underway at what time?
At 10 o'clock. We start at 10 and we're off at 5. We start with history. We move on to our choice awards. Then we move on to our fashion show. Then we have Extreme coming down. We got a good lineup. A great lineup.
We have vendors encouraging entrepreneurship and business owners, as well as food trucks. Please come down to enjoy the events, the food, the fellowship.
All right, Barbara, the celebration continues.
Absolutely.
Tomorrow.
There is nothing, no one can say there's nothing to do in Hampton Roads this weekend.
Not at all.
That's for sure. Thanks so much, Lisa. We look forward to you coming in from the heat.
Me too.
And chatting with us in just a little bit. Let me tell you about a couple more things that are going on in Chesapeake. June 20th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. They're holding their 5th annual Juneteenth Freedom Experience with 24th live music, inspiring speakers, delicious foods, and so much more. It's at the Chesapeake Central Library on Cedar Road, and that will be happening in Suffolk on the 19th, tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. The Great Dismal Swamp Underground Railroad Tour. Now, this is a 90-minute guided walking tour of the Underground Railroad Pavilion built to showcase the swamp's role in those seeking freedom. Reservations are required. Call the Visitor Center at 757-514-4130 to reserve your spot. And if you're not familiar with the Dismal Swamp and that history, there were enslaved who actually lived, and those who became free, who actually lived in the swamps in order to run away from being enslaved. Also in Virginia Beach on June 20th, Mount Trashmore Park, Juneteenth Stop the Violence Festival from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Wow. Featuring national recording artist Dougie Fresh. And on June 20th, also the Jazzteenth Festival. It's at the Oceanfront on 24th Street Park at 11 a.m. And this festival brings together jazz, R&B, spoken word, visual art, education, and small business in a way that honors African American heritage while welcoming the entire community. Live performances, Juneteenth cultural programming, local vendors and food experiences, art, fashion, and community showcases. All of that is happening this weekend. And I do want to tell you about one other thing very quickly before we bring Lisa back again. And this is not Juneteenth related, but it is very, very important. So Historic First Baptist Church in Norfolk, Reverend Jerry Holmes is the pastor. They are holding for grins and giggles and for conversations. Now, this is on Monday and Tuesday, June 22nd and 23rd. This is a fun dental event dedicated to keeping smiles healthy and bright. Enjoy cleanings and checkups, treatment referrals, and explore exciting vendor opportunities. Come for the care and leave with a brighter smile. So it is free. Come get your teeth cleaned. Come find out what you need. Our community needs this. And it is at the Historic First Baptist Church, 418 East Butte Street in Norfolk, Monday and Tuesday, the 22nd and 23rd from 12 until 5 p.m. And I do know that you need to fill out a consent form for young people. So keep that in mind. Those things will be going on also. And I know that we have a couple more people in the studio, including Miss Martha Reeds, because she has been helping us to make sure that we have something to do for the young people who came to be with us today. And if you're not familiar with Miss Martha Reeds, Martha goes all around Hampton Roads and throughout, working with young people, reading to them, providing free books to students, and she is just a wonderful addition to our WHRO staff. But before we do that, Lisa, I think you're talking with somebody kind of special to you, huh?
Yes, somebody I know. This is my daughter, Jessica, and she's the owner of the Confection House, one of Chesapeake's newest businesses. And Jessica, what do you have here for us today?
I have the best shrimp and grits in the 757. I have rum cake. I have an apple bread pudding. I have a sweet potato bread pudding, and I have cake pops.
What does it feel like to be a new business owner?
It feels great. It's a new experience. It feels great.
All right, thank you. She's a little shy, y'all, but I know quite a few folks have already tried the shrimp and grits.
I was going to say, I can attest to the shrimp and grits.
All right, I'm going to go over and get Martha, who's in the area with the children.
Okay, well,
and
why
talk
don't you
to her very briefly?
Okay, in the meantime, while you do that, I'm going to mention that in Franklin. Did I talk about Franklin? Yes, I did. Nope, talked about Suffolk. I think I covered everything, y'all, in terms of what is happening in the area. Well, again, there are many, many activities going on. I hope that you all will take advantage of the many opportunities that are happening. And there's Lisa. And then we also have a question from the audience. But go ahead, Lisa.
Okay, I'm here with Martha Razor, Miss Martha Reeds. And Martha, what's been going on across the hallway there?
Well, we had the children watching a Juneteenth episode of Molly of Denali. And then we had several activities. They have a Juneteenth hat that they were able to color and make, and some coloring sheets. We had snacks, of course.
Martha, for folks that don't know you, or this is the first time they've seen you, tell us a little bit about Martha Reeds and what's that's all about.
Well, Martha Reeds is a story time that we have each week. The stories are unique because they are stories taken from our PBS Kids Writers Contest. So all of the winners, we have them to record themselves reading the story, and I kind of facilitate in each episode. I facilitate and introduce the reader for the week, and then I normally summarize it, whatever the theme is. If they're talking about kindness, then I'll talk to the children about, being kind and what they can do. So it's really simple. We try not to have our episodes longer than 9 minutes. It happens every Friday at 10 o'clock on our Facebook and YouTube.
That's just one of your many duties here at WHRO. You're out in the community and at the schools, too. Tell us just a little bit about that.
I have a outreach person that goes out to the schools. We have 3 education vans. We have a literacy van, a STEM van, and an environmental van. With each van, we take programs to the schools, and we do activities. With our literacy van, we have what we call our campaign for reading. We want to encourage each child to practice reading every day because we know that reading is very important. When it comes to reading, if you can't read, you will struggle. And so we want children to be the best readers that they can be. With our STEM and our environmental van, we actually do classroom lessons based on the SOLs. And so all of our vans, even our literacy van, whatever we do in the schools, we coordinate it with, they correlate with our current SOLs. And so when the SOLs change, we change along with it.
Martha, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Martha.
We're excited to have you.
Absolutely. And for those of you who are new to WHRO, or I know a lot of you say this is the first time you've actually visited the building, but WHRO is owned by the 21 school divisions within the Eastern Virginia. It is a unique ownership model, no other in the country where the school divisions actually own the public radio station and media station. I know most of you know us through radio and through television, but education is a huge component of the work that we do here at WHRO Public Media. So utilize those resources. There are a lot of free resources online. There are a lot of free resources for young people, and it is a learning opportunity. I mean, the whole thing that makes public media so cool is that you can learn about just about anything at any time. Do we have a mic in the audience? This lady has a question. She's been raising her hand for quite a while now.
Good afternoon, everyone. My question is around the impact of religion, spirituality on the slave trade. And I was waiting to hear one of your speakers talk about the institution of churches, denominations, and slave trade, because we know that the Catholics, the Jesuits, sold slaves in order to fund Georgetown University. So again, I was just hoping that one of your speakers would speak to that.
Yeah, and unfortunately, our historian had to leave. So I'm not going to attempt. I know what I know personally, but I'm going to leave that to the experts. So I will pass that question on to her and see. Yes, Michelle.
Michelle Hankerson, news director for WHRO Public Media. I cannot tell you information off the top of my head on that, but I can say we just edited a story, and I think it's posting today, about William and Mary's Lemon Project.
Yes.
Which speaks to some of the topics that you brought up, specifically at William and Mary. It's not a huge, broad overlook, but it can give you some details into that.
And actually, on our archives, we have many shows that we've done on the Lemon Project, and that information is also available to us online. So, audience, have you had a good time? Well, we thank you for coming. We thank you for celebrating Juneteenth with us. We hope that you guys will get out and do some things on your own. Take your family, make it a family weekend, because that's what Juneteenth is truly all about. And for those of you who are joining us on the radio, we do hope that you will attend one or more of the many events that will be going on in celebration of freedom. And don't forget, you can always find our shows online at whro.org/anotherview, or wherever you go for your podcast listening pleasure. Before I close out the things, Lisa, I want to know, how are you? Lisa Godley was the one who pulled all of this together. Can we give her a round of applause?
Now that we're counting down, I'm good.
But talk to us a little bit about, so explain to people like what it is that you do as producer of the show, and how all this comes together, what it takes to put all this together.
As a producer, one of the things I love to do is take the show on location and produce live broadcasts, because we love being out in the community. We love getting an opportunity to meet everyone. But it does take a little bit of time to book guests, to make sure you guys are here and you know what's going on, and you can come out and be a part of our audience. And we really appreciate each and every one of you being here today. But it's a little work. We have an amazing team. I tell people all the time, I work with the best people in the industry, and we just have an amazing team. We get support that we need from our management, and it's just a good feeling to come in here and see you all here. It means a lot to me, and I know to Barbara.
Absolutely. You guys, we started this show in 2009, in February of 2009, on television, and it was 30 minutes on a Friday night at 9 o'clock. And I just knew nobody was going to be watching, and people were watching like crazy. We transitioned to radio in 2011, and we grew to an hour on the radio, and skeptics said it won't last a year. July next month, we start our 16th year on the radio. So thank you all so much. It is because of you that we are able to bring these shows to you. Please continue to listen. Please continue to invite your friends and family to join us, and we really appreciate that. Next week on Another View, cardiologist Dr. Keith Newby and Another View on Health. We'll continue our discussion on relationships with Dr. Alvian Lyons. Our theme music is an original composition created especially for Another View by Jay Sennett. Lisa Godley is our show producer. producer and conducted our outside interviews. Jordan Christie and Victor Bowen made sure we sounded great on air as our audio engineers, and Dr. Barry Graham and news director Michelle Hankerson kept me straight as in studio producers. Special thanks to all of the WHRO staff who pitched in to help with today's show. I'm Barbara Ham Lee. Have a fantastic weekend, everyone, and happy Father's Day to all you dads out there. Join us again next Thursday at noon for another View.
Support comes from Hampton Roads Community Foundation, carrying out your charitable wishes forever, whether it's helping shelter animals, feeding the homeless, enhancing the arts, or supporting students. Learn more at leaveabequest.org.